Today's project is going to be a Dreidel box or Dreidel box, and this project was inspired by a British turner called Andy Coates, who posted a video on the Dreidel box a couple of years ago. And I haven't actually made one, but it's a great idea, and apparently it's a gift given at Hanukkah in the Jewish faith. However, my take is going to be made out of some Goncalo Alves. It's about 2.5 inches square. We'll start off by rounding the piece down to a cylinder, putting a tenon on the end and gripping that in the medium gripper jaws. A quick thank you once again, and possibly I shan't mention this in future videos because it's been going on a while. This is getting better, very slowly, but it is happening, and I'd like to thank all the people that have sent me sort of get well wishes over the last few months, and it's been incredible, a great community, and it's lovely to be part of it. Without further ado, we'll go over to the lathe and we'll start making a Dreidel box. Now to turn a tenon. Okay, so now we bring down the edge slightly, and should be good. Now I'm going to start the base. So what I'm going to do now is to sand off this section here and then coat the top apart from the end. I'll get down as far as I can, but I want a little bit of meat here so that it's got some stability when I'm sanding it and coating it. So I'll sand it down and I'll come back when I'm ready to apply the finish. Okay, so what I've done is sanded the top and the bottom of the top of the top, down to 400, and now I've just decided I'm going to put a couple of little details on. I've just made some V-cuts, a couple of V-cuts in the top with a skew chisel, and just burnt the lines in with ordinary scrap piece of formica. Just take a small piece of 600 grit just to remove any overburn. and that gives a nice feature then. Okay, now it comes to the finish on. What I'm going to do, it'll be as usual, 2 coats of sanding sealer mix, rub down between each coat, obviously allowing to dry, and then 2 coats of wax, and I'll come back to you when I'm buffing up the last coat of wax. Okay, the second coat of wax has been applied, and I'm just buffing it off now, just burnishing it. I can't stress enough that when you're applying a finish like this wax, to keep moving your paper towel around the piece, and this ensures you get an even spread of the wax. And as I've said before, you can actually feel when the time is right, as it were, because it glides across the surface like glass. It really does. Very, very smooth. Now, a little tip you might find useful when you do you have any detail in there. There might be some little bits, tiny bits of wax that are caught in there. If you use a synthetic brush through around the detail, and that gets all the wax out, and as you can see, that's ended up rather nice. So the next thing to do is to part off. I'm just using a thin parting tool. I'm leaving a bit of wood at the bottom to work on when I remount it. Yeah, there's your top. That's the top finished, and it's come out rather nicely. This Goncalo Alves takes a lovely finish, really does. And the bottom, what we do now is I'll square that off and then start to hollow out, and then make sure that the tenon I put in there, or the mortise I should say, and this will slide. So we've got the mortise just about the right measurement now, because it fits in and it's very tight, which is great. And to get it off, you just give it a little bang and it pops out. So when I've got the depth right, I can put the top in reverse and finish off the bottom. Okay, so I've got the mortise down to the right dimension to be able to accept the lid, or the top, in reverse, upside down. So it's a friction fit, a jam fit, so very light cuts necessary. It could well pop out, I hope it doesn't, for obvious reasons. Okay, so that's sanded down. I put one coat of wax on there on the end and try to blend that in there, and this is the second coat of wax. Just making it, putting that in and blending it in, moving the paper towel around. Okay, and then a final burnish with the paper towel. And that's the top finish to the underneath. Now to pop him out, just lightly tap with a wooden mallet and that comes out. So there's the top finished, and what we have to do now is to just make sure that it fits in there nice and snugly and level with the box, so there's a bit of movement, so there's a little bit of altering to be done there, and I'll do that. I'll come back. I got the lid to fit. I just need to bring the lip down a millimetre maybe, and it's not a suction fit. I didn't want a suction fit because with the top it's going to be coming out to be used all the time, so there's no movement there at all, but it comes out nice and easily. Just using a spindle gouge, all I'm doing here is just reducing ever so slightly, and then testing, and it is a case of literally not far to go now, another millimetre or so, just testing, taking off, testing, taking off. And if you do go too far, doesn't really matter, because all you have to do is increase the depth of the little shoulder in there. So fraction now, just a very, very small amount, and then it will be flush with the top as it sits in there. And as I say, don't worry if you go a little bit too shallow, you take it down a little bit too far. All you have to do is to increase the depth of the shoulder. But it is nice to get it, and that I'm very pleased with. Yeah, that's fine. So as you can see, it does stay in there. There's a slight suction to it, so what remains to do now is to sand this up and part it off, sand the inside, sand the outside. So I'll do all the sanding now up to 400 grit, part it off and make a little jam chuck to turn the box around to finish off the bottom. So I'll come back to you when I'm ready to put the final coat on. Okay, applied the second coat of wax now, and I'm just buffing off the inside, and I shall do the same to the outside. While I'm doing this, I've had some comments regarding using wire wool to cut back the sanding sealer mix and to apply the first coat of wax. It's totally up to you. There are dangers in anything that we do. We have a revolving lathe and revolving lathe spindle, so it is really up to you what you decide to do. If you're not happy with using the wire wool, you can just as easily use 600 grit sandpaper. I prefer the wire wool. That's a personal preference, so the choice is yours. And that's the box finished, and just to show it goes nicely with the top. So now all remains to do is to part off the body of the box, make a jam chuck, reverse the box, put it onto the jam chuck, and just turn the base with a little bit of a cone on the inside, a conical shape, concave, so that you can spin the top on the base. So I'll do that now, and I'll come back to you when I've got it chucked up on the jam chuck. Right, I've turned the base now on the jam chuck, and just going to sand him up. There's a very slight dish on the bottom. Okay, I'll sand this up now to 400 grit and then give it a coating, and I'll come back when it's finished. And there's the underneath finished with a little dip there, and there's there's the Dreidel box finished. Looks rather good, I'm rather pleased with it. It fits really snugly and job done. I have been trying to get the top to spin on the base and I can't. I'm just not good enough. So you'd have to believe me when I say that's what it should be there for. But I can't do it. Never mind. I'll put some pictures up at the end. Thank you very much for watching and don't forget to subscribe. Cheers now.